Maxwell's lawyers said she would speak freely and openly and honestly with Congress, provided she was given a pardon by President Trump. And so, of course, she's been accused of trying to bargain her way to a pardon today.
Joined by the Times US assistant US editor, even David Charter, who joins us. David, good evening to you.
Good afternoon, Kate, from Washington, D.C.
Well, there's all sorts of political turmoil going on over here. It's been a quieter day over in D.C., I know, albeit chilly, I believe, still. Ghislaine Maxwell, there was a potential here for the story to move on quite a bit. But we knew in advance, didn't we, David, that she would refuse to answer questions from Congress today regarding her associate Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking crimes. And the Republican House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer expressed his disappointment.
As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions. This obviously is very disappointing. We had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth for the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about.
Was she always going to plead the fifth, David? And why did she feel that was the best way forward?
Yeah, so that's the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, which allows people giving evidence in potentially criminal cases to avoid self-incrimination. So that's her lawyer's line, because she has filed a last-ditch appeal against her 20-year prison sentence, known as a habeas petition. It's a very rare legal maneuver, but she claims that she was subject to a mistrial. And also as part of that, which is a tantalizing part for this committee, she has claimed that she knows of 25 men who were given secret settlements. And so it's suggesting she was unfairly singled out for prosecution. The committee wanted to ask her about the identities of those 25 men. But of course, as you've heard there, she refused to answer any questions and said from the moment she was called to give testimony by video link from her prison in Texas, that she wouldn't answer any questions because of this legal jeopardy, because she's still got a chance, at least according to her, of overthrowing her conviction. Not many legal minds agree with that. She's gone through all the other normal appeal processes without any success. But here's the rub that Maxwell's lawyers said she would speak freely and openly and honestly with Congress, provided she was given a pardon by President Trump. And so, of course, she's been accused of trying to bargain her way to a pardon today.
Yeah. So she's after a pardon rather than criminal immunity, because they are two sort of separate things, and I've heard both, David.
Yeah, the Congress has the power to grant criminal immunity, and that would mean that anything she said in a hearing would be off limits for prosecution. However, that wouldn't release her from prison. She's serving a 20-year sentence, and so the main thing she wants is to get out of jail, and her get out of jail card seems to be an appeal directly to President Trump for a pardon, because her lawyers also said if she's able to speak freely, she can explain exactly why President Trump is completely innocent of anything nefarious involving Epstein.
Yeah, we heard here from, I think these are the comments of the Representative Robert Garcia, as a Democrat from California. Who's she protecting? And we need to know why she's been given special treatment at a low security prison by the Trump administration. We're going to end this White House cover-up. So she's completely irked the Democrats here as well, hasn't she? But she's not going to help them out, is she, effectively?
Well, the Democrats, of course, have contrasted her refusal to answer any questions today with her 2 days of interviews with President Trump's Deputy Attorney General, a man called Todd Blanche, who was previously President Trump's personal lawyer. And during that testimony, which was in July last year, she said that Trump acted like a gentleman in all respects. So she's pretty much exonerated him already. However, there's an insinuation from her lawyers there's more to say. But it does stand as a glaring contrast for the Democrats that she'll speak to President Trump's deputy attorney general, but she won't speak to members of Congress. So that made all sides a bit madder today, I think.
Okay. Where does this go from here, David?
Well, we have to await the outcome of her habeas petition, which could again go up to the Supreme Court, I suppose. They've refused to hear this so far, this case, but that her every legal avenue needs to be explored, and then really it's up to whether President Trump is at all open to entertaining the idea of clemency. I think it would be a risky maneuver for him, given that there are a number of Republicans who are clearly very upset about this, including normal Trump loyalists. I mean, regular people who are regularly loyal to Trump have been posting that Maxwell mustn't be given an inch, let alone a pardon. And of course, there's a strong feeling among members actually on both sides that she should go back to the maximum security prison she was in until 1 week after she spoke to Todd Blanche and said those nice things about President Trump.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to the Super Bowl. Donald Trump's described the Super Bowl last night, the halftime show, as one of the worst in history. Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny performed the 14-minute spectacle in which he delivered the majority of it in Spanish and called for unity across the US and the Americas. He listed countries across the Americas in English.
Bless America, sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Perú, Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, México, Cuba, República Dominicana, Jamaica, Haití, las Antillas, United States, Canadá, and my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico.
So Donald Trump, not a fan. He took to Truth Social, didn't he, David?
Yes, he did on Truth Social call it absolutely terrible and an affront to the greatness of America, and said nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting. Well, that's a bit of a risky political maneuver, given that there are more than 50 million Spanish speakers.
It's also quite a racist thing to say as well, isn't it? I mean, he has to be careful.
Well, Donald Trump is not known for taking care over what he posts online, as we know from the egregious Obama post last week, where the Obamas were depicted, their faces were depicted on the bodies of apes, which was really the most outrageous post yet from Donald Trump, and did cause a backlash even among normally loyal Republicans. So once again, Trump is pushing the limits, although I have to say that the MAGA movement really had their own halftime show organized by the Turning Point USA organization. That's Charlie Kirk's group, the assassinated conservative activist group. They put on a lineup of mainly country stars. And
Kid Rock was there, wasn't he?
Kid Rock is one of Trump's biggest supporters among the entertainers. They drew, I think, a maximum audience of 6 million on YouTube, as opposed to 135 million viewers who watched the halftime show, probably the most ever. And that kind of suggests where America's at, I think, at the moment. They wanted to watch Bad Bunny.
Yeah, OK. Let's talk about Don Lemon, the former CNN anchor. He's urged the US to keep fighting for its right to a free press following his arrest by the Trump administration. He was speaking at the Human Rights Campaign 2026 in New York.
The free press is a mirror to a society. It's where we test our ideas. It's where we test our democracy. We have seen what happens when that revelation is punished. We have seen journalists arrested while covering protests. We have seen reporters threatened for investigating corruption and violation. We have seen books removed from schools because they told inconvenient truths about race, gender, and sexuality. What What is that?
What happened to Don Lemon? Just explain his arrest, David, if you can.
Right. So he's a former CNN anchor. He's quite well known, and he's a real Marmite personality. He's beloved on the left, and he's absolutely hated on the right. And he's now set himself up as an independent journalist who was live streaming a protest in a Minnesota church last month, where the pastor is also an ICE officer. That's an agent who works for the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, which is accused of all sorts of aggressive and terrible behavior towards suspected or immigrants, and even people observing and getting in the way of them in Minnesota. We don't need to discuss what's been going on there. But Don Lemon got himself in the middle of this protest while he was live streaming it, and was amongst several journalists who got arrested. And in fact, he ended up being charged with abusing the rights of the worshippers in the church service. And this is, I think, seen, certainly on the left, but pretty widely actually, as an intimidatory measure against journalism. Donald Trump does have a habit of picking on foils like Don Lemon, who his own side don't like at all. And so it muddies the waters a bit. But I think the clear point here is that there's a very strong First Amendment in America, a strong commitment to the freedom of the press and free speech. It's stronger than in Britain, for example. Don Lemon's defenders, and he himself in this speech last night, were very much saying this is the Trump administration has gone way past breaking the guarantees for free speech and journalism in the First Amendment.
Yeah, so there is a question of whether there is still a free press in the United States, David, which is not somewhere, a couple of years ago it would be me asking that question would have been astounding, wouldn't it?
Well, I think there's still a free press. It's still a very raucous public sphere in America. It's just that the Trump administration does, following Trump's own lead, calling a journalist the enemy of the people quite a lot, and talking of the fake news media when he refers to the mainstream media, whether or not they've got it right or wrong. He's really pushed traditional journalists into the opposition to Trump. He's portrayed them, I should say, as oppositional rather than in any way trying to be observers or objective. And it's all part of this deep division, I'm afraid, that we find ourselves in society in America at the moment.
Well, look, David, I know you've been writing about Ghislaine Maxwell, so you can read David's piece at thetimes.com when it is there, and of course in the paper tomorrow, and the work, of course, of the brilliant team over in the United States, giving you every bit of information you need to know. David, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for spending time with us. The Times assistant US editor, David Charter.